Hello guys and welcome to our English lesson for today. Now in today's session our LA is to develop our sentence starters. Now I know that some of us are already quite good at this and some of us definitely do need some improvement on this. So when I look at all your writing I can see some very simple sentences and we're always starting with very simple things. So now in today's lesson we're going to have a look at developing that and thinking of different ways that we can start our sentences using lots of different methods. Now I'm going to move you over to my iPad and then we can get started with today's session. Okay guys, so just like last lesson I would like you to create a thinking side and a writing side. So whether that is on a piece of paper, or whether that is on your exercise book that you got with your home learning pack, create two sides, one thinking side, one writing side, and your thinking side, can you split this up into 6 boxes and label them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, just like last time, okay? I'm going to give you a chance to pause it now, create it, and then you can come back to me, okay? Right, so let's get started with the lesson. So today's session is going to be on sentence starters. Now we are going to start on our thinking side and we are going to start on our side, on our number 1 on our thinking side, okay? So our first thing that we're going to look at is going to be connectives. But before we're going to get into that, I want us to, just like last lesson, think about our drawings on Monday. So thinking of our book, Escape from Pompeii, thinking of our drawings. So all of our things that we're going to write about is going to be about our drawings. Now first, in our first box, we're going to think about some connectives. So for one, what is a connective? Well, these are usually in the middle of our sentences and they connect 2 sentences into one complex sentence. But for this, we're going to try and start our sentences with connectives. So in our classroom, if you can remember, at the top, just it's usually on a piece of rope and look like jigsaws. They are our connectives. So if you can think back to when you actually were in the classroom, that might give you an idea. So I've written a sentence here. While the boat came into the harbour, the man set up shop. So our connective that I've started with is while, just over here. And in my box, I have just written, so the word while, despite, even though. These are just some examples of some connectives. Now in your box 1 you can copy my 3, but I would also like you to think of maybe 2 or 3 more connectives that you can write in your box. So now I'm going to ask you to pause it and then we'll come back and then we'll see what I have added to my box as well. Okay, so pause. Okay, so some more connectives that I have added in. I've added in although, added in however, and I've also put in so. There are 6 wonderful examples. If you like any of mine, you can add them in as well into your box if you've got some space. But I think whatever that you've got, as long as they are connectives, well done. Next, we're going to move on to thinking side number 2. So the one just next to the number 1. And now we're going to look at adverbs. So what is an adverb? Well, an adverb adds more detail to a verb. So imagine if our verb was running, because that is a doing word. I am running. Our adverb would give more information to our verb. So if I was running quickly, you then know that I wasn't just running, I was running really quickly, wasn't I? Or if I was running slowly, that adds more information to my verb, doesn't it? And I've put over here the ly, as most of our adverbs that we have all end in an ly, so the ly words. So some adverbs that I could start my sentence with, I have put here astonishingly. So astonishing, if I was astonished, I was a little bit gobsmacked. Underneath, unfortunately. Next, cautiously, if I was doing something cautiously, I was doing something a little bit carefully. I was just aware of something. And then finally, I've got slowly. So think of some more ly words, some adverbs that you can add to my list. Remember, you can use my 4 that I've got here, but I also want maybe 2 or 3 more of your own. And then after that, I'll show you some more that I've got, and then we can go on to the next section, okay? So pause. Okay, so some more that I've got. I've put crazily, I've got steadily, and I've got graciously. So remember, you can add these into your words if you really like any of them. Next, thinking side 3. So on this one, this is similes or metaphors. So a simile and a metaphor, this is when you compare something to something else. For example, I've put like a mouse. So that is a simile, like a mouse. As swift as a bird. So as quick as a bird. Like brave lions. Some lovely examples. So have a think of some similes that you can add in. Remember, you can use mine, but I also want a few of your own. So I'm going to ask you to pause it, add in some more that you can think of, and then we'll have a look what I've done as well. Okay, so pause. Okay, some more that I've got. As slow as a sloth. As quick as a cheetah. And then I've got finally like a shooting star. And I keep thinking back to my drawings on Monday, things that I could link into that. Next, I'm on thinking side 4. So this is where I'm going to use nouns, which are things, objects, names, or I could use adjectives. And we all know that adjectives, they are describing words. So I have started off with a noun, cobwebs. That is a thing or an object, cobwebs. Next, buildings. Buildings again, that is a noun, that is a thing, isn't it? It's an object. Beautiful, that is an adjective. That is a describing word. I'm describing something there, beautiful. And then finally, I've just got boats, thinking of the harbour in Pompeii in our book, boats. Now think of some nouns, maybe 2 nouns and 2 adjectives that you can add to your list. Remember, you can use all mine, but think of some more of your own, okay? Pause. Okay, so let's see which ones I have added in. So I've added in sunshine. So that actually could be an adjective or a noun, really. Crystal clear. So if something was crystal clear, that is describing how it looks. And then gigantic. That's definitely an adjective. Something is gigantic. It's really describing how big it is. Next, we're on learning thinking side number 5. So this is where I'm going to use a feeling to start my sentence. So my feelings that I've put lonely. That is definitely a feeling if you're feeling lonely. Jealous and angry. So they're just 3 examples. You can use them, but I also want maybe 3 more feelings that you could start your sentence with. So I'm going to ask you to pause it in a moment, write some down, and then we'll come back together, okay? So pause. Zero, okay. So I have put, so if you really like these, I've put elated. So elated means really, really happy, like joy, overjoyed. If I was elated, I'd be really, really smiling. And finally, I've just put sad. And then finally, thinking side 6. This is where we are going to use a verb. So we've already said about an adverb, but now this is our verb, so our doing word. And this is, we need to make sure that is an ing at the end. So my examples are giggling, laughing, singing, and crying. So think of some verbs that you could use at the start of your sentences. Remember, if you like any of mine, you can copy them. But I also want some of your own. So in a moment, I'll ask you to pause it, write some more down, and then we'll see what other ones I have got. Okay, so pause. Okay. So I have got cackling. Someone was cackling, like a cackling laugh, a bit like a witch. And then finally I've got screaming. Wasn't if you've got some of mine, again, if you like any of mine, copy mine down. So finally, we have filled up all of our 6 boxes of our thinking side. So now it is time to move on to our writing side. Now this is where I need to think back to Monday when I did my drawing and to write some sentences about our book Escape from Pompeii. So thinking of my first box, I've got the words like while, after, although, even though, however. I'm going to start my sentence with one of these. So I'm going to use the word while. So I'm going to say while Tranio, who is our main character in our book, was sleeping, and remember, so after this, while Tranio was sleeping, I then need to add a piece of punctuation. I need to add a comma. While Tranio was sleeping, the bars were setting up shop. Full stop. I've started my sentence with a capital letter, ended it with a full stop, and I have, with my fronted adverbial, my different way of my sentence starter, I have added a comma afterwards. Next, I'm going to move on to thinking side 2. So astonishingly. These are my adverbs, my ly words. So I'm going to use the word astonishingly. Astonishingly. And after my adverb, I'm going to use a comma because that is a front adverbial. Astonishingly, Tranio slept in. A lot about sleeping, isn't it? And a full stop. Here I've got my adverb starter. I've got my comma after my fronted adverbial and a full stop at the end. Now guys, first job I would like you to do, using these first 2 sides, have a go at writing your own sentences. So remember, in our first box, you need to put, so our first sentence, so while Tranio was sleeping, while the sun was shining, you could use whatever. You could also use some of these, even though the boats came in slowly, and then we need to write our comma after at this section. Compared to, in our second box, our adverbs, as soon as you put the adverb, you need to put a comma. And try and link this back to our story Escape from Pompeii or your pictures that you wrote, okay? Have a go, and I'm going to do one more whilst I'm counting down, just then you can really see it. Okay, right guys, so pause. Okay, so I'm going to do one more. Remember, a full stop, so after, with a comma, the ships came in safely. Okay, my next 2 boxes that I'm going to focus on are box 3 and box 4. I'm just going to rub all of this out just so I've got lots and lots of space. Okay. So my next box is my similes and my metaphors. So my similes and metaphors, so it says like a mouse. Or another one I've got is as slow as a sloth. Remember, yours might be a little bit different, but I'm going to put as slow as a sloth. And then after I have put my simile or metaphor, I'm going to write a comma because that is the start of my sentence. As slow as a sloth, I could put anything. The boat came into the harbour. And at the end of my sentence, I need a full stop. So you can see after my statement, as slow as a sloth, as slow as a sloth, I'm going to put my comma, and I've started with a capital letter and a full stop. And now this is our little bit of an exception over here. So in our thinking side for our nouns and our adjectives, we do not need to use a comma. So I'm going to highlight this in red. We do not need to use a comma for when we use a noun or an adjectives. So I might put crystal clear water surrounded Pompeii. And a full stop at the end. I do not need to put a comma when it is a noun or an adjective. So I put my crystal clear water surrounded Pompeii. And I put Pompeii with a capital P because that is it is a place, it is a proper noun, so I always need a capital P. So remember, with our similes and similes and metaphors, always put a comma after that I've put it. With this one, we don't need to. So have a go at that one, and then I'm going to write one more afterwards, and then we can get on to our final section, okay? Right, so pause. Okay, I'm going to write one more. So, as quick as a cheetah. Remember, I put my comma. Tranio ran down. In fact, I'm going to change this. Ran down to the harbour. And a full stop at the end, so you can see here, got my as quick as a cheetah, which is my simile or metaphor. Put a comma, capital letter, and a full stop. Perfect. Right, guys, I'm going to rub out this once more, and then we've gone to our final thinking sides, which are 5 and 6. Right. So our first one in our thinking side 5, it is our feelings. So I've got lonely, I've got elated, I've got jealous, angry, and sad. So I'm going to start my sentence. Lonely. Tranio watched the world go by. Just like in our first 2 pages, Tranio was just sat staring out of his window into the distance, listening to all the men, watching all the bars. Perhaps he might have been lonely on his own. So I've got my feeling. I have then put my comma straight after, capital letter, and a full stop. And then finally, I have got my verbs. So I've got giggling, laughing, screaming, and singing. Again, exactly the same as with my feelings. I can put singing, the birds flew overhead with a full stop. So I put my verb with a comma, a capital letter, and a full stop. I guess I have a go at our final 2 boxes, create some sentences with whatever that you've got, and then we can do one more together, and then we can finish off. Okay, let's go to pause. So we'll do one more together. I'm going to use the word screaming. So screaming, remember I need to add my comma. children fell over the boxes of wine. Full stop. Remember, thinking back to my story, the story of escape from Pompeii. So I've got my verb, my comma, and I've got my capital letter and my full stop. Well done, guys. Okay, so I hope that you have got at least, I'd say, 2 sentences for each over here. So I think that you should have about 12 sentences in this thinking side over here. Make sure, guys, that you either, if you've done it just like me, take a screenshot. If not, just take a picture. And make sure that you upload to Class Dojo or to Teams, just that I can see it. And yeah, well done for today, guys. And we're going to leave it there. So, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.